country. So let me show you these guys, and they can hi to you. Yeah, we can just introduce, starting from Buddhiga. Unmute your mic and speak.
Hi, I'm Buddhiga USA.
Greshan?
Joining from USA.
Greshan? Hello, Greshan, can you speak?
Hello everyone, I'm Greshan Fernando, joining you from Seattle, United States.
Okay, Pubudu?
Hi everyone, I'm Pubudu Senaratne, joining from Sri Lanka.
Thank you. Sandun? Mic is muted. Sandun, unmute the mic.
Hello, I'm Sandun Ranaweera. I'm joining from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Okay, so we have Thilan from Sri Lanka. Okay. So the purpose of this session is actually the panel is to discuss about the planning and implementation of a fabrication lab or FabLab in Sri Lanka. So we want to demonstrate how we use web technologies in a global knowledge sharing project, and also to kind of demonstrate the power of digital fabrication and manufacturing in rural development in a developing country context, in this case Sri Lanka. We have organized this 90-minute session as 1 hour for individual presentations or individual contribution on different subject topics, and then half an hour discussion. I hope that you will be able to manage time, even though we are running like 15 minutes late. So you are invited to have your questions or we have discussion at the end. Okay, let me give an overview about our project. Now, I'm sure you have heard and familiarized with the idea of fabrication lab or digital manufacturing. So we we have kind of observed and we have estimated that's going to be like the next industrial revolution, as some people have already predicted. So with that idea, when you look at the outside world, so fabrication lab or FabLab started as a project at MIT. Now it's a global network. So that is kind of the focus we have. Our project called FabLanka is a project where we try to get benefits of digital manufacturing, digital fabrication to post-conflict development in the country. So our team has been collaborating over more than 1 year in Sri Lanka, as well as some people from Europe. Mainly our team is in the US. So what we want to do is we want to develop or build a social enterprise for empowerment and economic development among rural communities across Sri Lanka, to share knowledge, to enhance innovation and technology transfer for community development. Of course, we want to do this as broad as possible by engaging multi-stakeholders, including government, universities, private sector, and government organizations, local community, as well as international community of people like you who are already in the ICTD domain. So we want to start. We have already finished our planning, but we want to start this as a one location project to grow to a network, to grow nationally as a network, and also to build a relationship and cooperation with international FabLab network. Now what we have done is actually starting from 2014 May up to now, we have done different types of collaborations. First, we actually, as Sri Lanka, we got that idea and education about what is digital fabrication, digital manufacturing, FabLab. Then we started with doing some brainstorming, mainly using Google Hangout, but also Skype and different other technologies. Most of our previous activities are already, they are recorded on YouTube, they are available to watch by the public. So from the beginning of this year, we started to work on this, to develop a business plan, and we have conducted a session to do like expert training on CAD/CAM manufacturing. And we recently started assembling a maybe very simple but 3D printer with the assistance from our colleagues from the United States. And this is our actually first, let's say, international knowledge sharing session with the global community about what we are doing and what what we are planning to do for next 2 years. So I want to show you some pictures of what we have been doing. This is an early session where we had a Google Hangout on digital manufacturing. This is a brainstorming session where people from Sri Lanka mainly gathered locally, but also people from US and Europe connected to share their ideas. At the beginning of this year, we actually sat together to brainstorm and work on developing a business plan. The last picture is this was only 1 week ago. We started doing our first assembly of 3D printer. It was like for us actually, we are like now middle-aged people, so it was like for us to go back to school and do assembly by looking at the instruction. It's fun, but I think it's a good hands-on experience. Okay, so this is what we have been doing, and I want to invite Priyantha to talk about
commercial and open source types of software available for CAD model. Now, in addition, there are reasons that can build scan and build a CAD model from an existing model. So when you have a CAD model, physical object that CAD model can be built by using digital fabrication tools. So
a few less turnout here, but it's exciting to see you all.
Can you hear the audience? Somebody speaking. Can you hear that? Greshan?
no, we could can. Yeah. What you can do is
Thank you for the session and for collecting people from all over the world to discuss this and actually starting on this initiative. The first few questions I have is, I'd love, we're around how you guys have started this, and you did mention that you're self-funding this right now. I'd like to hear a little bit as to your, your backgrounds as to what brought you to this, and I think that would be of interest. And the second question I have is, what are you all doing in terms of training? Because there's still, whenever I've entered FabLabs, even though I'm pretty tech savvy, it's not easy to quickly jump in. So what are you doing on that front? And then also, how are you working, if at all, with the governments and other institutions in Sri Lanka? Thank you.
Okay, I think Greshan, can you start on?
I can answer the first question.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Just a minute. I think first. I think.
Chaminda, about it. Yeah. So can you repeat?
Let me answer first.
Okay. So yeah. Greshan, hold on.
A little bit of our backgrounds and how we are employing our seed capital on this is for the initial project is now, as I mentioned at the very beginning, that now most of who pioneered this effort, like myself, Chaminda, as well as Greshan, who connected from the US. Now we are relatively, old people. I mean, of course, now it's about 25 years, 30 years now we have worked in the industry, and we are by background manufacturing engineers, and we were contemporaries in the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka. And so that is why we really wanted for spend some of our earnings, and we have been working overseas for quite some time now, and we would really want to do something for our own country. And we saw some issues with a lot of initiatives that have been already started. Sometimes they are mere showcases, and sometimes they are mere slogans of politicians, and sometimes the social aspect is totally missing. So that is why we really wanted to lay some good foundations, start something that is really will work, and we can sustain for a very long time. So yes, please.
Are you an organization? Funding and also training and development of experts for next 6 months maybe. And the gentleman has experience, right? You have.
I wouldn't say I have experience, but
okay.
I have interest.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so funding for the phase one, I was contributing part myself and then planning to do some fundraising events in the university. I'm planning to do some in the coming months. And then for the fabrication lab, founded fabrication lab, we plan to apply for some grants and plus we need some fundraising from the Sri Lanka diaspora around the world. So those are the plans we have right now. This one list is at this point I have funded having some equipment. In terms of training, I have some. I used to teach in the university. I did teach, computer design back then. So I have in that, but I haven't done it that.
Actually, I think for Pubudu, you mentioned that you described FabLabs as a social enterprise, and from what I understand of a social enterprise, it's someone who obviously values the way that you work and who you work with and how you engage. Which is important, and you specifically mentioned that your focus is on youth who come from a rural background and who are unemployed and in need of skills training. But the other hand of a social enterprise is that you actually want to generate a profit and be sustainable. So I'm just wondering what your profit model actually looks like and how you're planning to raise funds and money to sustain this.
You better answer the question. Who is our psychologist hired for that?
Sure.
That's right. Yeah. You want to answer?
We start off. Initially, of course, we invested ourselves. And now we are in the process of reaching to the communities, the global community. And our sustaining model is that we are also going to provide now yes, the marginalized, the underserved, we give them for free. But we are going to charge a fee from the SMEs and all that. And also we are trying to collaborate with financial institutions too, so that we could provide them with loans. And now we are making a huge effort to show the benefits that they are going to reach. And that is what the research that we are doing now. And so we are also not going to, as I mentioned, we are also going to reach to the large-scale manufacturers who can pay, and we are going to charge them. And also we are going to provide them with consultancy services of this technology. And so that in the long run, that is going to be a sustaining model. We are going to charge them to train. For all the trainings we are charging them, of course, a reasonable fee. And in the long run, when it goes to side 3, we prefer playing the consulting or advisory role and transfer everything to the industry.
And also, I think this is also part of you want to register as a private company and as well as NGO. So in Sri Lanka, based on the legal requirement, so we register in the both way will be social enterprise, and then of course we will not be focusing about profit. So we have a lot of public-private partnerships for this kind of new technological ventures. So we will look at such kind of model where we will be partnership with university, government, and also collaborate who are for example textile manufacturing, mobile companies. So they have similar model. So we are looking at such models. That's why we mean by social enterprise. Thank you. Any more questions, clarifications, contributions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Should I use the microphone again?
Yes.
Everything was covered from
Sorry.
the lady's question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you want mic?
Yes.
She won't be.
Just actually more of I'm trying to understand the context of Sri Lanka. In the beginning, you were outlining that 40% of the youth are unemployed, and I'm just wondering what the role is of the informal economy in Sri Lanka, and whether or not you're planning to engage or market your products to people who are involved in the informal economy, and what particular services or consultancy advice that you would give to them.
So I think we don't really have kind of informal sector defined. We're actually not accounted for, but it's very big. And that is why SMEs we cover. Now if you look at the overall economy, 52%, I think more than 50% is service industry. So manufacturing is less than, I think maybe 40. So we are really I mean, of course similar to other countries, South Asia, there's a big informal sector. Some are not accounted, and also some of them are like micro enterprises or SMEs. So, but the good thing is these guys are very literal and they are entrepreneurial. We saw that particularly after tsunami and after war, a lot of businesses. If you go to north and east nowadays, shops and different types of new ventures. I think that is our target also. We want to kind of unlash this, like when we remember when mobile phone introduced in late 80s or early 90s, people were really curious about mobile. Now you see it's really most like we have 4G, the first one to introduce 4G and everything. So we see there is an unmet demand, high enthusiasm. Only thing is we should be able to capture that enthusiasm in a more sustainable and usable manner. So I think this is it's a possibility that our target will be, we won't call them informal sector, we call SMEs and private entrepreneurs.
So the paucity of opportunity is the problem here. People are enthusiastic and they are very talented. And ICT savvy, that's also very encouraging.
Right. And it's an island, so you can always do pilot testing. If it's successful in Sri Lanka, you go to Bangladesh, Pakistan, India. So I think that happened to ATM machines, mobile phones, now 4G.
They use our country as a laboratory sometimes, as the guinea pigs. It's a good model to kick off.
You've got from like stakeholders in Sri Lanka has been so far, and are people seeing not necessarily small scale businesses and things who might be your potential customers, but other business partners, are they seeing this as a viable opportunity for Sri Lanka?
At the moment, yes, not because now, for example, we tried to introduce this even actually now my MBA students are managers of big businesses. Some of them are in small business, but they don't still believe actually. They don't believe that you can print things in objects. And also, so now at that stage, but this stage we are trying to communicate to them that it is real and it is happening, and then maybe the next level is how to get the benefit, how they internalize. Only I think few companies like multinationals are kind of discussing about that. But I'm sure now, if you ask that question directly, at the moment we don't know. But as Priyantha mentioned, we are very optimistic that with our previous experience, as I told, the mobile technology, people will accept them and they will innovate the final applications. But I'm sure that will be, now that's one job we are going to do next 6 months. With our 3D printer, now we have 3D printer, we want to kind of demonstrate and see how people react and reply.
So at the start, people are always very enthusiastic, and what you need to make sure is that that interest is not fizzled out. You need to keep on. They will say yes, indeed, we have to support this. But our challenge is keep them involved and fight through it.